A couple of weeks ago, I filmed part one of a multi-part series of a tribute bike we're building, and that's IMI, Italian motorcycle importer, Moto Guzzi South Africa, and Route 21. Now we're building a tribute bike, and we showed you in part one that we're using this Moto Guzzi V7 Stone Centenario of 2021 as our canvas, our starting point. Now, interesting fact, to South Africa, only 2 of these Centenarios arrived in our country, and the first one went to the Route 21 collection, and this is the second one, which is not for sale. We're going to be building the tribute bike. We rode it in Cape Town a little bit, and now she's up in Johannesburg, where we can start with a custom build. Now, I did tell you in part 2 I was going to Italy, to the museum Mandello del Lario, where I'm going to be filming the bike we're going to give tribute and honor to, and I did that 3 weeks ago in the museum, the home Mandello del Lario. Here we finally arrived in Italy, and I've always wanted to go to the birthplace and the home and the factory of Moto Guzzi, owning a couple in my collection. And the beautiful thing is that the home and birthplace and factory of today is still in the birthplace. And here we're in the beautiful town of Mandello del Lario, where the story is. This is where the factory is, that iconic red gate of this Moto Guzzi factory. And by appointment, we managed to get into the museum for a tour, because I wanted to show you the bike we're building a tribute to. Here we go, one of my dreams and bucket list moments ticked, entering the Moto Guzzi factory and museum. Now, this bike we're building a tribute to is one of the most iconic bikes of all time, not just for Moto Guzzi as a manufacturer, but of all time. Here you can see a very proud racing history for Moto Guzzi. On the left, more modern ones; on the right, the old ones. But the bike I'm talking about is the green one with the white number board on the right in front of me. Here it is. This is one of the most iconic bikes of all time. A 500cc Grand Prix racer with a V8 engine. Now, at the end of this episode, I have got a little scoop where I managed to get the sound of this V8 engine and a quick clip of the racer going past. Here we have one of the most iconic bikes, in my opinion. This is the Moto Guzzi V8. From 1955 to 57, they raced this 8-cylinder in a V8 configuration in the 500cc category Grand Prix racing. What an iconic bike. That is pushing engineering to new heights. Back in the day, sticking a V8 into a motorcycle with all the carburation. You see all the Venturis over here. There's 4 I can see over here. Look at all these little tiny little pipes coming out the back. You still had drum brakes at the back. These were heroes. Here's your clutch pack. What a fantastic, this hand-beaten aluminium tank and this dustbin fairing, and this is where the Centenario gets its colors from. The green on the fairing, the natural brushed silver tank, and the brown seat. Now this seat is actually a suede leather seat in brown, and the Centenario, the V7 Centenario, has the colors of this iconic bike. The green, the gold logos, the silver tank, and the brown leather seat. What a fantastic piece of engineering, piece of history, and this is the bike I want to give honor to in our custom build, and what better bike to use than the actual Moto Guzzi Centenario V7. V7, the most loved of all Moto Guzzis and longest in production as a model for over 50 years, over half the span of the company's life, and combining the two themes, most loved bike, most popular bike, best sold bike, together with the most iconic V8 Grand Prix racer. To give you some specs on this bike, back in the 50s this was pushing the engineering boundaries. The bike was announced in 54, produced and launched in 1955, raced between 1955 and 57. It is a V8, 8-cylinder, 500cc, 499 to be precise, 4-stroke double overhead cam, and 8 cylinders have 8 Delorto carbs, 20 millimeters on them. The engine weighed a mere 45 kilograms, the total bike weighed 148 kilograms, and the power of this engine was a fantastic, phenomenal 78 horsepower at 12,000 RPMs, and this was amazing for its day. The motor could reach a top speed of 280 kilometers per hour, which is equivalent to 172 mile an hour, and it took 20 years before that speed was ever reached again in GP racing. Now, the tire, brake and suspension technology lagged behind, and with this powerful engine made testing very difficult and obviously racing very dangerous. 6 were built in total, 5 survive to this date, 2 are in museums and 3 are in private hands, this being one of the 2 in museums. Here we have the sounds of the engine revving. Now, if you're in the center of Mandello del Lario walking through the town, you see this large marble statue, and Moto Guzzi identifies the brand and the history with this V8 racer. Here you can see in this marble statue, this is most probably a racing manager, maybe even one of the Guzzis. You can see he's looking down pit wall, down the straight, pen in pocket, and in his hand a stopwatch with a logbook below it. And on the pit wall you see depicted this Moto Guzzi V8 racer. Now, the inhabitants of Mandello del Lario, they associate with Moto Guzzi. Everywhere you go you have the Guzzi flags and memorabilia. And even on the traffic circle as you enter Mandello del Lario, where you see the name depicted in stainless steel, on top of the circle you see the sculpture in stainless steel of that Moto Guzzi V8, that famous bike, that iconic bike that Moto Guzzi identifies with. And how appropriate to build a tribute bike out of one of the most loved models of all time that has a lifespan of over 50 years of the company, already produced as a Centenario in the V8 racing racer colors. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode with us. Please give me a like, a thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button to help me build the channel, and if you like, the reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading new content.